December is here, the cold weather has killed off our summer garden, and now it's officially time to go into hibernation mode for the winter, right? Not a chance. Even if you won't be growing your own winter garden, there are several important December garden prep tasks you should be doing right now. This garden prep that we do now in December will determine how well our gardens will perform in the spring. And let's face it, with the time change, you could probably use the vitamin D anyway. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work before it gets too cold or it gets too late.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out my Amazon store and Spreadshop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom apparel and gear.
The first thing you should be doing is turning over your old summer beds. If you're like me, you've gotten a couple of frosts and freezes, and all of your old summer crops are long dead, and you have all this dead vegetation and plant matter that's hanging all over the place. Now is the time where we want to remove these old plants and especially remove any fallen fruits. Picking up these old fallen fruits is an absolute must, because if you don't, you will get tens of thousands of seeds germinating everywhere. You're not going to get one or two volunteer tomatoes, you're going to get thousands of weeds that you don't want growing throughout your garden. And the other negative about all of these fallen fruits is they overwinter and harbor millions of pest eggs. These fallen fruits are where a lot of your larvae will be safe for the winter. So if you pick them up and you remove them and you dispose of them, you will carry away literally millions of pest eggs that would otherwise hatch in your garden. Very little good will come from these fallen fruits rotting in your garden. And remember, I'm not going to compost these, I'm going to throw them away in the trash can. Alternatively, if you do want to compost them, dig a hole and bury them deeply so all of the seeds rot, all of the pest eggs suffocate. Don't just open air compost them. How I remove plants depends on the plant that I'm removing. Something like basil, which doesn't really colonize many pests or diseases where I live, I don't like ripping out the root ball because that disturbs the microbiome. So I like to just take a pair of anvil pruners and I'll cut the plant flush with the soil and I'll compost the plant. Then I will just let those roots decay and break down naturally, and all of that root material as it breaks down will refeed the soil. But for plants that have a lot of problems where I live, like tomatoes that colonize a lot of fungal diseases and also soil-borne pests like root knot nematodes, I actually want to pull them out of my garden. So what I do is I wait about 30 days after they're killed by frost and freeze, and then I'll cut them down. Now watch this. Because this tomato plant has been dead for a little while, I'll be able to pull it out with relatively minimal soil disturbance, and we'll get those roots out of there because they may have root knot nematode nodules on them. The second prep task you should be doing now is, after you're done cleaning up your beds from old summer plants and fallen fruits, you want to amend your soil. And when I say amend your soil, I don't mean with granular processed fertilizers or things that are going to break down quickly if you won't be planting in that soil for several months, because that may wash out of the soil and no longer be there by the time you want to plant in it. I'm talking about amending the soil with slow release things that are going to take a long time to break down, like kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, and things like compost. That is going to take months to break down, especially when your soil temperatures are cold and you want everything ready and that nutrient bank ready to go once you want to start planting things out into your garden in early spring. Right here I have an old raised garden bed that I'm building up into a double depth raised garden bed. So I've been throwing a whole bunch of old leafy greens and kitchen scraps and things like coffee grounds and eggshells on top of this soil because I'm going to continue to fill this raised bed. So I want all of these things breaking down about 8 inches underneath the new soil layer that I'm going to stack on top of it. That way when I go to plant in this bed in a couple of months, all those nutrients will be broken down and accessible by my plants. So all of that garden soil there is going to get moved into that raised garden bed right there. And it's going to get stacked on top of all of those kitchen scraps, and they are going to break down thanks to the microbiome in the soil. But even if you aren't filling any raised garden beds, you're still going to have to amend them with additional compost, because naturally the soil itself is going to sink over time, and as you pull out old plant roots, you're going to be taking out a significant amount of soil mass as you pull the plants. So this raised garden bed right here actually sunk about 2 to 3 inches. So I'm going to have to amend it with about 2 to 3 inches of compost to bring it back up to its original height. So you can layer some kitchen scraps down on top of the soil and then bury those kitchen scraps under 2 to 3 inches of compost. I love doing this in the winter time. Sometimes I will also throw a tarp over them in order to help facilitate the breakdown, because the tarp will make the soil get warmer and it will lock in all of those nutrients in case it rains, so you don't get any kind of washout, and all of those nutrients are preserved and well broken down for your next spring planting. Step 3 is to get yourself a nice little winter garden going. And there are all kinds of cold hardy root crops, herbs, leafy greens, alliums, and things like that that grow great in the wintertime, and they have minimal pest and disease pressure because pretty much all the insects are gone for the year, and fungal diseases aren't active when it's very cool out. Now, there are very easy direct sow root crops that you can grow, like carrots, parsnips, radishes, turnips, rutabagas, beets, and more things like that. There are all sorts of cold hardy annual herbs like parsley, cilantro, dill, bunching onions, chives, a whole litany of things that you can grow. Countless brassicas you can grow, like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, spinach, collard greens, all the different colors of the rainbow. All sorts of leafy greens like lettuces, spinach, escarole, endive, radicchio. You can even grow a crop of winter bulbing onions if you're in zone 7 or warmer. And I'll link to a video both above and down in the video description that will show you tons of different things that you can plant out in your garden in December. But let's assume for a minute you don't want to have a big winter garden and you want to take the season off. Well, there is something that is non-negotiable that you must plant now, and that is garlic. That's because garlic has to accumulate hundreds, sometimes thousands of chill hours throughout the winter time in order to produce big bulbs the next season. So if you're not planting your garlic in late fall, early winter, it will probably be too late for you and you won't be able to sow it in the spring. So if you're not going to have a winter garden and you won't plant anything else, at least plant garlic now. Task number 4 is to prune your deciduous trees. Deciduous trees go into a deep period of dormancy during the winter time, and it's important that we prune them during that period because sap flow has moved from the branches into the roots of the tree. Now is the safest, least stressful time to prune them, but we only want to do it when we're sure that our trees are dormant. For example, here in Zone 8, it takes many frosts and freezes to get our apple trees to be dormant. They are still holding on to green leaves, so it is still too early for me to prune my apples. But trees like my Asian pear and my Asian persimmon, they are not quite as cold hardy as an apple tree, so the frosts and freezes have already pretty much completely defoliated these trees. There's just a couple of leaves hanging on, so I will probably be able to prune all of these trees in a matter of about only 2 to 3 weeks. As you can see, my peach tree isn't ready yet because it's still holding on to all of its leaves. But something like this grapevine right here has already gone completely dormant, so if I want to, I am free to prune this now. If I wanted to prune this pawpaw tree right here, I would be free to do so because it has been completely defoliated, so it is ready to go. Let the leaf content of the tree be your guide. If it's been completely bare for a while, it's probably time to prune. And if you're like me and you have a lot of different deciduous trees to prune, well, it's good that we do it this way and they're at different levels of leaf drop, because that way we can space things out and we don't have an overwhelming workload ahead of us all at once. If you want to learn how to prune dormant deciduous fruit trees, I'll link to a video both above and down in the video description that is a complete pruning guide. It is one of the most detailed ones on YouTube, and it will teach you everything you need to know. Don't be afraid to prune your trees. Task number 5 is to send away for seed catalogs and start making a list of all of the different varieties of seed that you want to plant next year. One of the biggest mistakes I see gardeners make is they wait until the spring to order their seeds. Online seed exchanges start restocking everything in November and December, so the orders start rolling in well before Christmas, and if you delay, a lot of the things that you want are probably going to be sold out. Many online seed exchanges will send you a completely free seed catalog in the mail if you request one online. It's one of my favorite things to do. And my favorite places to get free online seed catalogs are places like Baker Creek, Tomato Growers, Burpee, Territorial Seed, Johnny's Seeds, Southern Exposure Seed Company, and there are many more than that. And when these seed catalogs arrive, it really makes me feel better. I feel warmer just flipping through all of the pages and getting excited for spring. So if you're like me and you struggle this time of year with things like seasonal affective disorder, or you just long for the warmer weather, I'm telling you, looking through these seed catalogs, it's a great way to spend the time, and it does get you excited. And the beautiful pictures will really help you decide what you want to grow, often a lot better than just online web pages can. So order those free seed catalogs. It will warm up your soul. Get your list together and beat the rush. That way you can get all of the varieties you want before they sell out. Task number 6 is to pre-order your bare root fruit trees that get shipped in late winter, early spring. Now, bare root fruit trees are deciduous trees that have gone completely dormant, and they have been stored in cold storage. So they're not budding out. They're basically in a completely dormant state. Shipping the trees in this manner allows online nurseries to ship them at a much lower shipping cost. So you can get a lot more trees for less money than if you order the trees in the spring and summer when they have to ship them in a potted soil ball, because those trees are going to be actively growing because they awoke from dormancy, and they're going to be a lot larger and heavier, and therefore they're going to cost you a lot more money. As an added benefit, when you order bare root fruit trees, a lot of times there are less shipping restrictions. So certain states with large agricultural districts like California, Florida, Texas, Arizona, a lot of times you can't ship some varieties or some species of fruit trees to those states, because if they're actively growing, they come with a soil ball, and that soil could carry invasive pests or diseases, so the agricultural departments don't let them in. And a lot of times online nurseries can sell the bare root trees across those state lines because they don't come with any soil attached. They'll just come wrapped up in basically plastic because they're bare root, just like I said. So not only do you get better pricing and better selection, and you can sell them to a wider variety of states, but you can lock in a wider selection of varieties than you can later in the season. Believe it or not, companies start taking pre-orders in November and December, some of them as early as October. So again, if you wait till after the holidays, until late winter or early spring to start thinking about your garden, chances are a lot of those varieties that you may want will already be reserved and sell out. So get your list together now. Now you may be wondering, well, where are the best places online to order bare root fruit trees? Well, there are so many different places over the years that I've patronized, literally dozens, and I've always had positive experiences with pretty much every single one. I've talked about this in the past, and there are so many that I'm just going to cut in some footage over this. One Green World, Just Fruits and Exotics, Rain Tree Nursery, Four Winds Growers, Bay Laurel Nursery, Peaceful Heritage Nursery, Bottoms Nursery, Plant Me Green, Plantogram, Bob Wells Nursery, Burnt Ridge Nursery, Cummins Nursery, Off the Beaten Path Nursery, Handpick Nursery, Bright Leaf, Edible Landscaping, Stark Brothers, Logis, Restoring Eden, Willis Orchard Co., Trees of Antiquity, and my personal favorite for buying citrus is Mackenzie Farms of Scranton, South Carolina. I get almost all of my citrus, all of my grafted citrus, from Stan Mackenzie of Mackenzie Farms, but you actually have to call him to order the citrus. So I recommend you look him up on Google Maps, Mackenzie Farms, Scranton, South Carolina. Give him a call and he will ship the citrus trees to you. And garden prep task number 7 is one of the most important of all, and that is to stock up for all of the gardening supplies that you will need next year now. That's because things are usually being cleared out of stock at a fraction of the cost now in fall and early winter than they will be in the spring. Companies raise the prices in the high demand season of the spring, so if you wait until March and April and May to buy all your gardening supplies, you are going to be paying top dollar. Warehouses are clearing out the leftovers from the previous season to make room for seasonal items and winter items, and all of that storeroom space is very precious. Fertilizers, seed starting mixes, seed trays, containers, insecticides, fungicides, battery-powered sprayers, garden tools, shade cloth, insect netting. Stock all of these things now while they are relatively cheap before they hike the prices way up for spring. I do almost all of my shopping for the new garden season now in the fall and winter because I can get things like fertilizers for pennies on the dollar compared to what I'd have to pay for them in the middle of spring and summer. I also stock up on things like soil mediums. I may have gone a little bit overboard with the perlite, but I regret nothing. And this is where I store all of my things like plant covers and shade cloths for the following season. If you're looking for very good lawn and gardening deals, in my Amazon storefront, I maintain a today's deals list where every day I go through the best deals in lawn and gardening on Amazon and I pin them to that list. You can check that list daily because it changes every day. A lot of times there are some hidden gems in there. And that right there are, in my opinion, some of the most important garden prep tasks that you should be doing every December. Whether you grow a winter garden or not, it is critical to do these things because they will influence how effective and how healthy your garden is going to be next spring. Don't wait until it warms up in late winter, early spring to do these things. A lot of times the benefit is in doing them as early as possible. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring the notification bell so you are notified when I release more videos like these. For all of my favorite gardening products that I use to turn over my winter garden, I'll place direct links to those items down in the video description for your convenience. For everything else I use in my yard and garden in real life, that is all linked in my Amazon storefront. So expand the video description, click on the Amazon storefront link, you'll see everything I use in real life. And while you're down there, check out my website, themillennialgardener.com, for all things gardening and custom merch if you want to support my channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video.
With all of the persimmons that I harvested this year, I decided to make some persimmon bread in a way that both Dale and I can enjoy. So in a blender, you put 2 cups of oats, 1 of the whole persimmons, maple syrup, 2 eggs, baking soda, and some vanilla extract and cinnamon, and you puree that. And then you pour it into a loaf pan and you bake at 350 degrees for 35 minutes, and you get this delicious bread that Dale is in love with. Come on, Dale, come up here. Very good. Oh, his liquor's going out of control. Okay, wait. Okay, that's so good, Dale. Go. Okay. Oh, he's so patient. And let me tell you, he loves this. I've never seen his eyes get so big. Usually I follow this recipe for a light, healthy banana bread using 3 ripe bananas. But using a huge Giambo persimmon, oh my goodness, it is so moist. And I can't wait to have mine, except I added a little bit of granola to mine for crunchies. Enjoy, Dale.